Randy Gonzalez, CAO office.
Bob Masterson, King City, representing Monterey County Chiefs.
John Mino, Sheriff's Office.
Marcia Parsons, probation, and we'll go quickly back to the end of the line.
Thank you, Marcia. Pam Patterson, DA's Office, Victims Unit.
Annie Brereton, Office of the County Council.
Elliot Robinson, Department of Social Services.
Susan Chapman, Public Defender.
Amy Miller, Behavioral Health.
Yvette Irving, Monterey County Office of Education.
And if the Assistant District Attorney would state his name.
Berkeley Brannon, representing Dean Flippo. Supervisor Phillips waylaid me outside, and man's hard to get away from.
Thank you. Do we have any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Let the record reflect there were no additions or corrections to the agenda.
And do we have a quorum?
Let the record reflect that all CCP members are present, and we have a quorum of CCP EC voting members.
Thank you. So at this time, I'll take public comment on any item not on the agenda. Is there anybody in the public that would like to comment on any item not on the agenda? Seeing none, bring it back to the partnership. We have quite a number of items on the consent agenda, A through E. The minutes, the revised CCP meeting schedule, the Criminal Justice Realignment Service Delivery Report, the Public Safety Realignment Annual Report, and the Statistical Data Report. Is there anybody on the board, on the partnership, I'm sorry, that would like to pull any of those consent items? Is there any member of the public that would like to pull any of those consent items? All right, I'll bring it back to the partnership. Is there any further discussion? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Thank you. Moving on to our scheduled items, we have the quarterly physical update on AB 109 funding and budget, and I will ask Finance Manager Don Sosa to do the presentation.
Good afternoon, CCP Chair and members. In front of you, you have item 4A, which is the summary of total funding and annual expenditures. It has been updated specifically for the main allocation base to reflect the governor's January proposed budget for fiscal year 18-19. And also as a result of that proposed budget, the growth allocation has been updated to reflect the governor's budget proposal. And annual expenditures have been updated for the current year 18-19 to reflect what the recommended budget is that's being presented today. So this item is kind of being presented in tandem with the budget. I will add that the annual expenditures beyond fiscal year 18-19 include a 4% COLA to cover cost escalators for all county departments, and then additionally any one-time items that this office was aware of were reduced out of ongoing years, and those are noted on the schedule as well.
Any questions or comments from the partnership on the quarterly fiscal update? Seeing none, so received. Any members of the public like to comment or have questions on that item? All right, seeing none, it's so received, and we'll go on to item number B.
Okay, moving on to the fiscal year 18-19 requested budget. You have two attachments. The first is a comparison between the approved fiscal year budget for this current year that we're in, and then the requested fiscal year budgets for all the departments for 18-19 and the variance. In addition, you also have an attachment that outlines the augmentation requests and the reallocation amounts. And just to clarify, reallocation amounts are dollar amounts that in the current fiscal year, the departments updated their budgets to reflect a decrease in either baseline services or one-time services. And augmentations are amounts that are being asked by county departments for an increase to their baseline budget amount. So going into the recommended fiscal year budget for 18-19 for AB 109 Public Safety Realignment, the total amount requested is $14,757,892, and that is made up of approximately $14 million in the baseline budget, and that includes the cost escalators for all county departments for staff and services and supplies, and also includes a realignment and funding of about $795,000. And those items are detailed in the staff report. Additionally, there are 4 augmentation requests that I will go over separately. The first is a augmentation request to fund the sheriff's inmate health care costs, which is a net augmentation of $294,000. The second augmentation request is for from the Public Defender's Office for a net amount of $81,560 to fund 1 FTE legal secretary. The third item is funding in the amount of $204,000 to fund additional dollars for housing services. And the fourth augmentation is a request from the court with probation providing as the lead on that for $144,766 for the text reminder program. The recommended budget as compared to last year is an increase of about 10%. It's primarily funded by the projected yearly allocation of revenue of $14 million, and there's roughly a little over $500,000 coming out of the fund balance to cover the ongoing costs that are being requested. If these actions are approved, the estimated fund balance at the end of fiscal year 18-19 will be around $6 million, and the reserve that's been set aside is approximately $2.1 million.
Thank you, Dawn. Comments or questions from the partnership?
I did have a question. On the sheriff's augmentation amount, how does that relate to the $1 million that was approved at our last meeting?
So the 1 million last time, that was to cover for the current fiscal year. So looking ahead and looking at as the healthcare costs continue to elevate for inmates, what we did is we reallocated $700,000 of what just things that we felt like we could better use that money towards inmate healthcare. So we repurposed $700,000 and are asking for $300,000 on top of that. So as everyone in this room is very familiar, since AB 109, inmate healthcare costs have doubled now, and it's a combination of a lot of factors from just the longer sentences, just the different types of patients that we're having to treat, dental, vision. There's just a lot more that goes with dealing with those longer-term care inmates. So rather than come back in and try and ask for that million was a big ask last year, so that's we went back and really tried to repurpose as much existing money as we could, and just trying to keep that as manageable as we can.
So the almost 300,000, that's I mean, I saw that 700,000 or so was reallocated. So the 300,000 is in addition to the 1 million.
Yes, but the 1 million was for current fiscal. This 300 is now for
The following fiscal
Yes.
year, starting, yeah.
Okay, now I need to, I wasn't going to ask a question, now I am confused. Because it looks like in the reallocation that you're reducing the million to 705,000, still for healthcare, inmate health, and then taking $290,000 of that and putting it to next year? Am I reading the table right?
Can I clarify?
Thank you.
So the sheriff's baseline budget that's represented does not include the $1 million ask they did in November of 2017, because that money is not included in the baseline services. It was a one-time ask. So what's in the fiscal year 18-19 budget is their existing baseline services from 17-18, which did not include the $1 million additional request from November. So they've already asked for the $1 million in November,
Right.
and they've received that from the reserve. And now the ongoing request, we took the original ask for the sheriff's budget. That did not include that $1 million. And from that original budget, they've reallocated around 700 some odd thousand and change
Into healthcare
into healthcare.
from their original budget.
Right, so it's not $1 million plus another $1 million.
Okay, so it's $1 million plus the 300,000.
It's their existing budget plus a net of $300,000, yes.
Now I understand. I got very confused.
Any further comments? Yes, Robin?
I noticed that there's an escalator for county staff salaries, which I think is fair and appropriate. And I would have liked to have seen something in there for your partner agency salaries. Was any thought given to that?
So currently, any CBO contracts are included at the prior year's cost. For our department, there are meetings done with those CBOs based on services provided and what they're projecting the population is going to need. So if there's an increase requested, it's researched and included. So that is at the option of the county department that champions those costs.
Further comments, questions?
Just one other question. So the 1 million last year, that was a one-time request. The 300,000, is that also a one-time request, or would this be an ongoing?
I expect it would be ongoing. I mean, again, it's going to depend. When we roll into next year, we're going to see where we're spending money, where we're not, and we'll try and allocate it where it can best serve the population.
Do you know about how many inmates this services?
How many? Well, every one of them in the local jail is subject to the services that we're getting to the inmates. So it was about 890 yesterday.
Thank you.
Just one more question to close the loop on this, hopefully. The 700,000 that was reallocated, where was that reallocated from?
It was a combination. Do you want to?
I can go through the list. So there was a decrease in jail safety equipment of $350,000. There was a decrease in catastrophic medical of $100,000. I believe that was included as part of the inmate. There was a decrease in in-custody treatment of $30,000, and a decrease for the cost in parole beds in county of $225,000.
Okay, thank you.
Further comments, questions from the partnership? Comments, questions from the public?
Elliot Rokowitz Roberts from American Civil Liberties Union, Madam Chair, board members. I noticed that we no longer have out-of-county beds. We no longer are housing inmates like in Alameda County. That's correct? So, do we still have the contract with Alameda, or is that contract now no longer applicable?
It exists, but right now with the current population and the trends, we don't have a need for those beds as of today, but we're always very careful that one legislative change in Sacramento could have major impacts on our inmate, on our daily population.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because I thought this is tremendous progress, because the jail population is going down. We're no longer housing people out of county. So I thought it would certainly be a savings there, which I think is a good thing. So, but I was just wondering what happened, whether you were continuing that contract, because that is an expense. So,
And sir, we only get paid, we only pay that per head per day. So if there's nobody there, then we don't pay for that.
terrific. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions from the public? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the partnership. Any further discussions? Is there a motion to approve the FY 18-19 Public Safety Realignment Budget?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
Court abstains.
Thank you. So we have our final item, announcements, and I have a couple, so I'm going to start because I'm the chair. There's a graduation ceremony tonight at the Elks Club in Salinas. GO Reentry, which provides day reporting services to our offenders, is having a graduation ceremony at the Elks in Salinas. It's a very, very nice event. If you can make it, I would appreciate your attendance. Also, our next meeting is going to be February 22nd, and the reason for this meeting is that I believe that the sheriff, in partnership with Restorative Justice Partners, will be bringing forth a request for a small augmentation in order to get some restorative justice practices and tools into the county jail. So we will need the partnership's attendance at that meeting in order to look at this augmentation request. Thank you. Pam? Anything? Robin? Roy? Me? Anybody else? All right. We are adjourned. Thank you.